Hello, thank you for joining the Small Business and Local Professional Digital Marketing Training. I'm Milli Cannata. I'm a realtor and broker associate with Vanguard Properties, and I'm also the founder of Own Your Dreams Academy, which is a consulting hub and production company designed to get you to where you want to go. This training will take about an hour. I am going to be recording this. However, if you want to go over the details one-on-one, don't hesitate to reach out. Quick little bit about the legalese. So this is a presentation for educational and informational purposes only. The information that I've gathered can be different tomorrow as this industry is ever changing. I am not providing legal advice or other professional advice, and I retain the right to all the intellectual property and material that's being provided. The content and design of this material, including all the graphics and headings and such, are copywritten, and any reproduction or sharing and distribution of this material without written consent from me is prohibited. I appreciate you understanding. The purpose of this workshop is to help you expand your reach and target audiences, attract highly targeted individuals and groups of people, assure people know that you exist. I will teach you how to be seen when competing with the digital marketing space. I want to make sure that your customers remember your name and showcase your unique value add. I'll help you position yourself as a go-to community expert and help you to sell more, make more, and contribute more to your community. My overall goal is to help small businesses keep up with big advertising dollars. If you don't know who I am already, I'm Milli Cannata, a marketing and negotiations specialist. I've worked in the real estate industry since 2001, but I've been in sales since I was 9 years old. I started with door-to-door sales as a kid with a mission to win the prize for the school fundraiser, to walking dogs and other entrepreneur adventures as a youngster. I remember drawing my first flyer by hand and walking door to door soliciting to walk dogs for 25 cents per dog. Didn't tell them how long I'd have their dog or anything like that. That actually led me to a job at Madrone Road Cafe where I was doing dishes for $20 a night. But I soon realized that I didn't like to be behind in the kitchen and I'd rather be out as a waitress. And then later I found myself dabbling into different sales of products like skincare, cleaning supplies, and eventually I fell into real estate. Currently, I'm one of the top community leaders in the area. I've been regularly I've been regularly recognized for my sales in real estate, and more recently, I was awarded a congressional recognition as a rising entrepreneur and community leader in our area. I've also produced a TV show highlighting our local community and many of our amazing small businesses who make Sonoma County what it is. Here's just an example of some of those different organizations and businesses that I've featured or am working with currently to help with their marketing needs. So today we'll be focusing on social media stats and how to expand your growth, the power of video marketing and why you should be using video, how Facebook works. It is the largest social marketing platform. And as you get going, you'll be able to add more platforms, but you really just want to get started with the one because it can get pretty overwhelming. And then I'm going to break down the processes to help you develop trust with strangers. Depending on the product, not everybody is willing to just instantly click and buy something from you. For instance, larger products like a house typically take 9 to 12 months of a sales cycle before that person actually buys something, if not more. I've worked with some people that took about 8 years before they actually bought or sold a house. So the marketing is designed for long-term results, but nothing is immediate. And it does take time and consistency promoting your brand. And then, of course, the industries are always changing. So we need to be able to continue to adjust with the times. As you know, some jobs are now obsolete. We no longer have the fuel attendant, the switchboard operators, or the cashiers. Unfortunately, they've been going away too, replaced by tech. Just like technology has been replaced, so we're not using landlines as frequently anymore. Our floppy disks and CDs have kind of been reused for other things, like mine was an ice scraper. And our photo projectors, we just want to capture all those photos, but unfortunately, it's hard to get them off of these little slides. The sales cycle in business. So first you have awareness and marketing, lead generation, lead nurture, conversion, results, and then refer, retain, and resell. So it continues to repeat in this cycle. You need more leverage, bottom line. So he who markets the most wins. So you want to start with branding, strategy, trends, advertisement, development, services, support, and then the social media marketing. You really need to have your foundation and everything set so that when those leads start coming in, you're going to be able to capture them and convert them and retain them. 83% of customers say that they'll refer and reuse products as the products and services that they purchased, which sounds great. But guess how many are actually doing that and who is actually remembering your name? About 2%. So the average referral rate right now is about 2.35%. So out of those 83% who said they would recommend you, only two of them really are. And that's because there is a slight disconnect and potentially they're not continuing to receive your marketing. So they literally forget your name. Wah, wah, wah. Now, let's look at the average referral rate for different industries. So, software, because maybe we're all on the computer and phones these days, certain programs you're more likely to see somebody go and after referring them, we have these little links and things now that they'll do promos to get you to refer. Books, people tend to go get the book after you've actually recommended it more so than like if they're told to call me to buy a house. Food, we all love to eat, so if I hear of a good place, I'm more likely to go find that good place to eat. When it comes to health and wellness, though, you'll see the averages continue to reduce. Like it's hard to get somebody to switch from their dentist or their tried trusted like chiropractors and doctors. I know I refer my chiropractor all the time, but I don't know how many actually go to her. So, and then like with apparel, if you're a fashionista and a designer and you have some amazing clothing, although I could be wearing those out and telling everybody, they always ask, where'd you get that? It's not as likely that that person's actually going to go visit that brand to purchase it as if they were like referred as a realtor. And then beauty, that's another industry that's really hard to get somebody to switch from their current hairstylist or esthetician or nail person to another one. If you've had a good relationship with these people, you tend to stick around with them. Like my hair lady I've been with for 20 years, so it's really hard to find somebody else that I just want to go through the whole process of explaining, how to do my hair or trusting that they're not going to just, fry it. You can generate business when you use digital marketing and social media marketing correctly to reach the masses. And so this can replace traditional marketing strategies like just posting on your business and personal page or in a newspaper or magazine or a TV ad or radio. There is a lot of noise out there. And so your customers are constantly being distracted and, solicited. And so if somebody's marketing more than you may be losing your customers daily. And without a regular presence, they forget you and your business and your name. So the goal is to make them remember your name. What are these major brands doing to be so effective? It's, we already know their names at this point. They're future 500 companies, and they continue to see the same results over and over and over. Although they are well known in every household, these big brands still will budget for huge advertisements, such as, some spend $7 million on a short 30-second commercial in the Super Bowl. Why? Because it works. Right now, along with other millions of mom and pop shops, we are mainly just seeing people post on their page and their business pages, and you'll see it's pretty much the same 25 people who see that ad or that post. And it's not working. The people who know you already know and engage in your posts. And so who's seeing your content as your friends, your mom, your dog, your cousin. But it's not really getting to the people that you're trying to reach. The other part of this is there's a declining organic reach. So back in like 2018, you could post something on your social media and be able to reach about 7% of your audience. Today, you may be close to 1% of your audience actually sees that post. That's why you see the same like 5 people actually liking your stuff because nobody else sees it. As of 2023, there were over 3 billion people consuming social media sites. You're either producing or consuming. So let's not forget, social media is an advertising platform. If you're not producing advertisement, you're actually consuming it. Today, there's over 5 billion users and on social media platforms and growing. So we've had quite a jump since COVID, not much to do. So a lot of people got onto these platforms. There's 63% of the global population is using social media on average about 2 hours a day. Facebook alone has 3 million, or excuse me, 3 billion users. About 51% of those are female, and the other about 48% are male consumers. So it's good to know your audience. When the community thinks about XYZ service or products, we want them to think about you. So how do you do that? Social media done right. That's when you'll start seeing it rain gold. Target marketing to reach the masses so that you can get to the consumers who need your product, basically. And so Facebook is the leading advertisement platform. Google and YouTube follow. And depending on your business, you may want to focus on other platforms like Instagram, which will sync with Facebook, and LinkedIn. For instance, I work with a company, FM Technologies, to help boost their brand. They sell filters for mineral mines. These are huge companies with C-suites who make decisions to spend $2 million on a filter. So FM technologies will shine more on platforms like LinkedIn than they may on Facebook, or Google would be a good platform also for that kind of industry or business. So we're talking about the target marketing, geo-targeting, and retargeting strategies. With Facebook, you can actually narrow your audience and target locally, Google as well, but it can get more challenging to navigate those sites. So target locally, go small, then go big. Now let's talk about the Facebook algorithm. The goal is to get engagement, post clicks, to reach more people, to get more video views, and more minutes viewed or hours viewed on your platforms. Social media, when it's done right, it starts with captivating text and visuals with a strong call to action. There are many different tools that you can use to develop a strong call to action and to edit these different content pieces. And very popular now is the use of AI. How do we get the people to stop scrolling and actually see your business? So, with our attention span so short these days, you need to be compelling. Choose the right objective when you're running your campaign. And begin your marketing process when you need to spend time. So you want to really spend time to develop an objective and identify your client base. The first part of your marketing and advertising process is building the details of your marketing plan to support your brand. You will have brand to build your brand awareness, and you could start that with the following Facebook ads once you've already kind of identified your client and so forth. And so you'll use reach ads, brand awareness ads, engagement ads, video views. And then once you've saturated the market and built more rapport and trust with those people, then you can begin to use other options like traffic, lead generation, and conversion ads. This is a visual of the different means that you can be seen in different marketplaces. Your website really is the best place to funnel the clients so that you can continue to retain them and target them throughout the years. So you could use other channels like newsletters, blogs, events, and then there's other mediums or channels that you could use that can end up costing quite a lot, like TV, although now most people are streaming, so you may not see as much results from traditional commercials and things like that. You can also pay for radio ads, but podcasts seem to be more effective these days and less costly as you can collaborate with people and share valuable content in different ways and it's not just on one radio station. Billboards are a tried and true way to make sure that the entire town knows your name, but it's very expensive. And when you're flying down the highway, you can't always, grab the number and call or take a photo or whatever. But when you're scrolling, it makes it a lot easier for them to just click or follow, and it's a much lower investment. So as you're developing your client avatar or, trying to look at who you're going to target, it's important to know your audience. And so datausa.com is a great resource to help you identify the demographics in your area so that you can cater your marketing to those people and really create a call to action that will fit the needs of the consumers in your community. There's lots of information on there to be provided. Here's just an example of how it's collected data so that you can know your audience better. Currently, as I mentioned, there's over 3 billion people on Facebook active regularly. The average person will visit Facebook about 17 times a day. Pretty amazing, huh? It's like you become addicted and it's a habit and you all of a sudden find yourself off the phone on a Facebook page. The average person spends 51 minutes a day on Facebook itself. We also market on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. I'm all over the internet, but this, again, we're just going to focus on Facebook. Know the process to develop trust online and to be a social presence that they want to know, like, and trust. The more you're present on social media platforms, the more your community gets to know your brand. It's literally like being in 5 places at once while you cater to your clients' needs. It's a life changer. When you develop trust, you will get the community to engage with your brand. So you aren't chasing people, they'll come to you. 84% of the people say that they've been convinced to buy a product or service by watching brand videos. Video views account for 80% of the global internet traffic. Video increases your brand awareness, traffic, leads, and sales conversions. Businesses in high tech and professional services keep video content less than 120 minutes, or excuse me, 120 seconds. Depending on the content, I do have some videos that are longer, and the goal is to provide education and value. And so I have like a country property series that talks about all the things of country property that's been split up into multiple videos, so they're no more than like 3 to 5 minutes. And then I have one that I'm launching like a hand tools for homeowners, which is a series also that will get them to click into the different videos as they learn more about the different hand tools that would be good to have as a homeowner. So getting creative is important. But the shorter and more concise your video when you're doing advertisement is important. So you want to do like a call to action ad, and then in your regular postings, you can continue to do some of these educational and value added videos so that they are longer. And eventually those people that you've been targeting will start seeing those ads or those content that you haven't paid for. or that you're not putting ad spend behind. According to Forbes, 90% of customers say video helps them in their buying decisions. So it just helps you kind of feel more comfortable. You don't have to call somebody and feel like you're going to get, sold something. You can really take the time to get to know the person and the product and the company. 64% of customers say seeing a video makes them more likely to buy. So, there are some impulse buyers. I know I sometimes find myself scrolling and I'm like, "Oh, I want this little gadget." And I have, bought something off Facebook a few times. And then, of course, when it comes to other industries, it can take longer. So not everybody's going to click and buy something within the first 3 minutes of seeing your ad or whatever. It's important to remember you are the product. People are buying you and your company's service and products. So to be candid, it is easier to make friends with new clients than it is to get friends to become clients. Video marketers get 60% more qualified leads. Everyone is trying to sell you leads these days, but they're only using the same funnels that I'm going to teach you how to use. And unless you hire a full-blown marketing company like Own Your Dreams Academy, who offers the content creation to revenue production, not many of these lead generation or social media management companies actually help you to convert and retain. So many will charge you about $250 a month plus the cost of your ad spend to put out the same content over and over with little or no return. So I've found many people have kind of just wasted money hiring management companies that aren't really delving into a detailed plan. 40% of users take some sort of action after viewing an ad with a video. So they'll either react, comment, follow, subscribe, click, sign up, call, or message. An introductory email that includes video actually receives a higher click-through rate by 96%, which is huge. So BombBomb is a platform many salespeople use, which will embed a video in the email. And then there's other ways that you could use, like links to YouTube and different things like that, depending on your email provider. It is important to have a system in place so that as you are, getting these leads in, that you're able to then continue to retain and follow up so that you can convert them. 90% of the information transmitted is to the brain is visual, and visuals are processed 60,000 times faster in the brain than text. So as our attention spans have been reduced, visuals help us retain more customers, although it's good to have captions, as not everybody is in a place that they'll be able to, turn on the volume when your ad pops up. The average person spends about 88% more time on a website that has video. Video attracts 2 to 3 times as many monthly visitors and doubles the time spent on a site and increases the organic traffic by 157%. That's huge. At the end of the presentation, I'll show you my website data and stats and the different analytics. So highlighting the return visitors and new visitors, so forth. Excuse me. The middle of the week is the most popular for business to business in the US. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays is when you could be more effective if you're planning out your ads. As you continue to advertise, you'll be able to view the analytics to get a better sense when your gated community is viewing your ads, and that will help you when you're planning your 12 or 18-month marketing calendar. The best time to post on social media based on different times of the days and weeks. So you'll see, depending on where you're at when you're doing things, this is when the ideal times to post. And so it just helps you to be more effective when you need to dial in. And then as far as Facebook goes, as far as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, these are the different times that are more effective for you to also post. Captions are important. As I mentioned, people can't always watch with the volume on. They could be in a place that isn't able to do that. So when you have captions, they're able to read the ad and then you get more retention that way. It also increases the completion rate, which tells the platforms that you have value added content and helps with your message retention, helps you to boost your search engine optimization. So while using SEO keywords, then that will also help the algorithms and whatever, happens behind the scenes in tech world to show your content. The power of video helps you come to life. So it gets people to know you, like you, trust you. It breaks down the barrier, or it gives you the expert authority, and it helps people become familiar with your brand and services so that they're comfortable to convert more friends who they'll refer to you. The common question I get is, what do you post? So some tips here is, what's new in your industry or your business? What are the different changes and how they affect people? Important things to be aware of and important takeaways. The goal is to add value to their lives. And how does your brand or product do that? They don't want to just hear about how awesome you are and all this stuff about you. They actually want to know what you can do for them. This also will help, like other posts that can help, is ways to help them save time, strategies to help them throughout their day, something fun. Sometimes we do like to just check out and, be mindless. Things that you've learned, different pros and cons of products and such, and break down different areas of your business. And then, of course, how-tos always seem to be effective. Doing this well will help you gain trust, show that you know what you're talking about in your industry. It helps you stand out as a leader in your field or your business, and develop relationships with your audience. It makes them crave and want your stuff. So you don't need an entire production team to get started. You really just need a smartphone with a good camera. And the goal today is to really educate and engage prospects and clients and customers. Again, they don't want to always be looking at you and hearing about your great success stories. More people want to know how you can help them. Your job is to get their attention. That's it. Take a minute to think, what questions do you get asked the most in your business? Start there. The number one question I get asked as a realtor is, how's the market? It doesn't matter where I'm at. Once they learn I sell real estate, it never fails. I'm always talking about how the market is. The results, since I've utilized video, I am now recognized in public. Either they say, hey, you're that real estate lady I see online, or everybody seems to know my motto now and they scream at me, own your dreams. It's kind of cute. I love it. Now it's your turn to tell them and to be the resource. Showcase that product or service that you have that you're so passionate about and remind them regularly. To be known, you have to be seen, you have to be heard, and that's how you get known. Believe it or not, I really am a shy person, and social media would make you think otherwise. I'm definitely better in small, intimate settings, but with social media, I'm able to be in front of thousands of people without the pressure or stress of being in a large group. We all are nervous about video. It was fun when it was like, the family video, the home videos, and just didn't care back in the 80s, I guess. But today, everybody's a little bit more worried and has filters. But remember, we are our own worst critic. And honestly, if somebody is so judgmental, I'd rather they just keep scrolling anyway. I only want to work with people who I resonate with. And as you build your brand, your business, and your brand, you will have the luxury to choose who you work with too. So quantity is good, but quality is better. And all of us are afraid of what we look like, what we sound like, the fear of judgment, and that's all totally normal. But the real breakthrough moment is when you are secure with yourself and your product, and able to show up as who you are, with no filters, real life, and live. People prefer authentic versus filters, I promise. So while you're out there judging yourself, remember some of the most rich and famous people aren't the best or most good looking out there either. But they're making some of the biggest paychecks and are able to spend more of their luxuries or their money on luxuries, while others are maybe not as content with themselves. And you may find themselves botched, or you, as a consumer, catfished when you finally get to meet that person and they look nothing like they did on their video. So keep it real. I think that goes a lot further. And, when your vanity shows your insecurity, it could draw the attention you don't want, and it makes you seem unapproachable. Authenticity is key, especially when it comes to asking someone or, going to reach out to somebody you trust. Ask yourself, are you in your business online? Or are you still using the traditional methods? Which is fine, but time to fold in more. And again, consistency is key. The correct way, and you want to make sure you do it the correct way, or you're just wasting your time and money. Value plus time plus trust equals business. You are giving value. You want to develop trust and serve, and serving is not selling, but you are selling yourself. Let them know who you are, and the more genuine that you are, the more likely they're going to consider you and your product. You have to be willing to give this time that it takes and be committed to be consistent. It's worth it, I promise. That's why these Fortune 500 companies are continuing to spend tons of money on digital marketing space, in addition to $7 million for commercials. um, it's important to just recognize that you have to be willing to give what it takes. And I know this is a lot to learn. I'm happy to partner with you to show you the ropes, and I have on-staff videographers. I'd love to help you run the ad campaigns to show you how it's done. And from there, you could decide if you want to take it on yourself or consider partnering with someone like my company, Own Your Dreams Academy, who's a full service production company that can create a marketing plan that's long term to help you see content creation and revenue production. Most marketing companies will charge about 6 to 15%. Own Your Dreams Academy has created affordable packages options to help these small businesses to keep up with big ad spend. That's the goal of our company. What's a funnel? Everybody, you hear that word these days, and people don't really understand how to make it work. So funnels are different ways that you bring by basically bringing together different social media platforms, emails, print material. You can better track and support the excited buyers on their journey to making a purchase, or consumers. Consumers can take about 3 to 6 months to buy a big ticket item. Consumers usually take about 9 to 12 months before they buy a large product like a house. Capturing these potential consumers is best through educating them. That helps build rapport and then leads them to more exposure as you're continuing to target market them. So essentially, you'll funnel them through your sales cycle, starting with a video and then channel them to your website so that you can collect their emails and phone numbers and then continue to market to different channels like your email blasts or blogs or mailers, phone calls, events, so forth. I know it's a lot. We're almost through here. This is going to get to the real nerdy part. So we're going to take a deep dive into my data. This is information from stats from and analytics from 2024. And again, if you don't want to nerd out with me, feel free to cut here. You can call me and we'll go over this in more detail one-on-one. Google is the #1 global search engine and it stands at the forefront of digital marketing. AI could kick Google out of the way as far as being able to find so much more data than just on that one platform. So good to keep up with that stuff. Here's just a quick glimpse at some of the results that I had in the first part of 2024, Google really was a game changer for me. I was able to harness many leads from keyword searches that really were effective to help me to convert. And so, in a sense, I actually was more effective through my Google ads than I was actually on my Facebook ads, where I see Facebook was kind of a more long-term play. Google actually got leads that were looking for more immediate action, although they still have some time before they would actually convert to a sold product kind of thing. There's some more examples of my target marketing, through Google so that then I was reaching people in the Bay Area. However, many people like in Chicago and New York are curious about our markets here, and so these ads also reach those people because they were looking at those same keywords. Facebook. So Facebook is more than just a social platform, as I've explained. It's a powerful marketing tool, and it's great for demographic targeting, video ads, and dynamic property listings if you're in real estate. Facebook also allows you to connect with highly specific buyer segments. So, through Facebook Marketplace, lead generation forums, virtual open houses, Facebook Live, there's other ways that you can showcase your product and get to consumers no matter where they're located in the world. Here's an example of some of my advertising stats based on different educational videos and then also property videos. And so Facebook really is a platform that helps me to get seen by more buyers all over, or not just the ones that are, searching in Google for like a local realtor or something like that. And because I take an educational approach with my head background as being able to provide quality content and information, that allows me more engagement because I actually am seeing people sit on my videos longer than the shorter video recommended, because they are getting valuable education, and then the more comfortable you are when it comes to such big product purchases like a house, the quicker you're going to be able to move. And then, of course, it helps build the trust and credibility so that they call me and they feel like they know me versus having to go through this whole process over the telephone call to get to know who people are. Here's another example of some of the results I've seen just from running my video ads on Facebook. And so the different impressions and clicks, and then the cost per click. And so I was averaging about 48 cents, some less and some more, depending on what the ad is. And so there's over 9,000 real buyers that have clicked on my ads. They have then been funneled through into my website. And so I'll kind of go into that more once I show you how this all converts. Some more examples. Algorithm boost. So informational content helps the algorithms because also in your description, you'll use SEO keywords, and that helps optimize your ads so that you get seen more by the right people. And so these are just some examples of the ads that I've run and videos that I've used to build and expand my database. And again, another example here, and just talking about the price per click, my results have been more effective than a lot more than others. And so basically what this is showing you is that some of these results, the national average, I am exceeding well above that average. So that knows that I'm providing quality content that people want to hear. YouTube is also a very powerful platform. It's tied in with Google. It's owned by the same company. And so real estate agents and all kinds of businesses are using it. It's a great spot for where your podcast could go. It has very strong SEO integration, and it helps you to reach more potential buyers and engaging in video tours and neighborhood guides, client testimonials, and building trust and credibility. Through targeting ads and just personalized content, you can attract serious consumers. Here's kind of an example of the behind the scenes look of what my YouTube channel looks like as I was just building it out. I just started it basically last year. I had one for a while, but I just didn't really know how to use it effectively. And so here it kind of gives you an example of which videos are being have been seen more, and that lets me know what kind of content to continue to produce so that I see these similar results. Here is basically a breakdown of different how keywords and audience analysis and compelling call to actions helps maximize the visibility and engagement. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn help broaden the reach and target diverse audience through these content formats. So you can like post your video on YouTube and then that link to those different platforms. Although it is important to remember Google and Facebook aren't really friends, YouTube and Facebook aren't really friends. So Facebook does prefer you post the video directly on Facebook. And if you have repeat content, it may not be seen as original content. Google wants you to be original, just as the rest of these platforms. And so if you're duplicating that information over and over and over, it could be wise to actually change the description and some maybe the thumbnail, things like that, so that you look more original and you could basically repurpose that content and make sure it's seen on all the platforms. But start with Facebook. Here's an example of target marketing. And so I am more seeking buyers in the Bay Area and sellers in the Bay Area, but because of the SEO, the optimization and keywords, it does attract people from Los Angeles, Texas, Chicago, New York. As those markets are interested in our market, we often see people moving to and from there to the Bay Area. When I first started my channel, I was keeping up on, how the ad spend was working and building my my average hours watched. You'll see there's influencers or whoever are trying to monetize their channels, and it's really based on how many hours people are watching and how many subscribers you have. If you're trying to make money on monetization, it's not very lucrative. It's just kind of like an added bonus that can help pay for some of your advertisements, but it takes a lot of effort to really become a breadwinner on these sites. So stick to what you know, and that's your product, and be passionate about that. Here it gives you more insight on the different viewers, age, different demographics that kind of help me then to better create content to cater to these demographics. So you could kind of see the different viewer age groups. And so I produce a lot of educational content. So I have this 25 to 34 range where they're watching a lot of videos on how to buy a house. That's great. 35 to 45, it starts to go down. They might have already bought or purchased. I was joking that these 46 to 54, they already have their realtor, so they aren't watching mine as much. And then as you get older, you may not have bought or sold in a long time. And so I'm thinking the 65 plus, as these people are, transitioning to downsize and such, they want to be educated more so before they take the leap to buy and sell again. I briefly mentioned LinkedIn in the beginning. One of my clients would be a better, platform for them to use, noting the type of product that they have. LinkedIn is basically it's highly targeted and it has a professional audience. And so the audience tends to be a little bit older, higher earners, well educated, and they are potentially ideal customers. So about 50% of LinkedIn users earn over $75,000 a year, and 73% are in the age of 30 or older. So this is a platform where, depending on the product that you have, may be more beneficial to you. But again, compared to Facebook, Facebook is more affordable when it comes to advertisement. LinkedIn is costly when it comes to advertising on there. Here's just some behind the scenes of my LinkedIn content so you get an idea. It helps me, again, just better understand who's looking at my profile and all my information, so I have a better way to gauge what kind of content to produce for that group. Here's some more results, again, kind of highlighting where these people are coming from. There's over 1 billion users from 200 countries around the world that are on LinkedIn. Millennials, 25 to 34, make up about 50% of LinkedIn users. High income users, about 55% of LinkedIn users are considered high wage earners. And then there's a global reach that 75% of the users live outside of the US. So it is a good way, like for that product I was mentioning, they would be more effective marketing and advertising through LinkedIn to reach those C-suites to sell their product. So leveraging LinkedIn with SEO keywords, that's also, again, the search engine optimization that then like Google and other search engines know to post your stuff first or highest, rank it higher on their website searches. Most of the people I'm tied into are real estate agents. I definitely do use LinkedIn for marketing properties to people in the Bay Area and surrounding areas. Lots of owners, founders, executives, presidents. I started my LinkedIn when I was a HUD counselor, and so I had used this platform to connect with escalated, like when I had to get to the presidents or CEOs of banks to stop foreclosures. If I couldn't get past the customer service line, I would actually target them through this, and it worked really effectively. Zillow. So I just wanted to mention Zillow obviously isn't for everyone unless you're planning to try to, sell your house by yourself. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can list it there. Zillow does have a lot of buyers on that platform. And what I've found through my marketing is that I've actually been able to surpass what Zillow has done for other agents just because of the effectiveness of my marketing and using SEO and different things like that. Through the ways that I highlight my properties or my product, if you want to call it that, um, I am able to be seen more on the front page of Zillow. And then my listings stand out more so than other competition. And that again is not just because I'm posting it on the MLS and it feeds through Zillow, but because of all the other marketing strategies that I'm using that then help it to be seen more on Zillow even. Here's an example of like my marketing versus another agent. Similar homes, similar areas, and I am, although mine's more expensive, I'm getting double basically the number of people to look at my properties and save my product compared to this person. And then by connecting these leads, or excuse me, these videos and things to my landing page and linking them to my website, that allows me to capture the data. And so when people click on it, it actually feeds to my website and they won't be solicited then through Zillow by people that have no clue about the property. If you didn't know, Zillow is a lead service that basically is a brokerage that doesn't sell real estate really, but they sell your data. So here's an example. Zillow does a great job of helping us get our product or properties seen, but it isn't something we could rely on. Some agents do. They think they could just put it on the MLS, put a sign out and pray. But you have to be more uh, progressive, I guess, and proactive so that you see these different results. So what this is showing you is, again, I surpassed the last agent with the views just from, Zillow in my optimization. But then here I was getting more views through my YouTube video than what Zillow was creating on their platform. I found it more effective. Now, email is also important. So once you capture the lead, you need to continue to talk with them somehow. So if you could get their email, you want to put them through a email blast or have it part of your marketing strategy so that you can make sure that you continue to retain those people, invite them to events, give them promos or whatever will add value so they actually read it. Also, it's important to have a strong retention database, something to basically, once you start getting these leads, they need to go somewhere so that you could continue to retain them and to retarget them. And so I use Lofty, which is more designed for real estate, but there are different programs and databases available depending on your sales product. So landing pages, you can use like Go High Level to help create different landing pages. My website just happens to have amazing landing pages that then also help me to convert more. And so this is kind of an example of where I'm seeing results through sharing my links and such, so that it then filters people or funnels them from watching my video into my website. Then they get set up on a smart plan and it automatically starts emailing them. And then I host different events and things like that, so I can build the trust and rapport needed to gain clientele. Education is key. I find that using education is the best way to help consumers. And so then, providing details like different market trends or whatever, may apply to your product is going to help you to see results. Through video, I'm able to get greater results than just an ad because consumers are more likely to spend the time watching my video than they would if I were to just sit here and talk about this property. Retargeting is essential because once you've captured that audience with your video views, you can then start to retarget those people with the next video that you put out. So as you start building this and the algorithms figuring out who you are, you'll start collecting a lot of different viewers that haven't subscribed or anything to your page. But when then you get to the next phase of setting up another video, you can specifically target the people who viewed certain time frames of your video. So to make sure that they then continue to see you and your product and the value you add. As far as my industry goes, about 16% of the agents are actually using social media. It's wild. I don't know how else. I guess they're just putting it on the MLS and letting Zillow do the work. But only 1% are actually using it effectively. So again, they're most likely posting it on their page or their business page, and that's it. So you really want to go through a strategic process, especially if you're putting any ad spend. You don't really want to boost things. You want to actually have a strategy so that you're effective. Otherwise, if you're boosting, you're just kind of throwing money at the Facebook and it's not as effective or directed. Since I have taken the last year and a half or so basically to master digital marketing, I'm now very effective. Within the last month, March and April of 2025, I've got 50 leads in my database through my advertisements. This doesn't give a good representation of all the calls and texts, as I'm not usually using my database to make the calls and things. I'll just use my regular phone, which then I'll capture that data in a different program. And then, of course, these are emails that are continuing to be sent out to new people who have subscribed to my website and put their emails and all of that stuff. This website, my database basically tells me when my people are most active, so then I can start targeting them more, and then that will help me to get a greater reach. And also it gives me an idea of how many new visitors. So I had 3,000 new visitors basically, and then I think it's 2,500 or something, or 250 that came back and revisited my website within the last, I think this is based on uh, this year, since 2025. Here it talks about how these people are getting to my website. It's showing me the results based on if they typed in my name, paid through a paid ad. You could see that 6% are actually paid. They're finding my website. Then we have direct, so that could be they're typing in my name, and then my website pops up on Google, and then they click the link to millicannata.com and directly accessing my website. And I have postcards going out, all kinds of different things that help me to make sure that everybody knows my name. So I went from 60 visitors a month to maybe I think it says, well, here 3,000 page views within the last quarter. And so people continue to visit. That's increased as I've been using more ads the last few months, so that then I was retaining and converting more people. So prior to training, very few, or prior to my certification, very few people saw my post. And since I've been certified in digital marketing and advertisement, I recently posted this video, and now I get about 7,000 people looking at it. Target market ads are super helpful because it's helping me get these results now that I've built this algorithm in this space, basically. Here's an example also. This is a house I sold this year, and just this was like more of a generic video. It wasn't my listing, so I didn't actually have a video of the house. So we put together some still frames and some words, and I think it was like a $25 ad, and I had 7,000 people viewing it. That's really good for $25. All right, I know we're approaching the hour, so I'll speed it up here, but this is just another behind the scenes view of my database. So when I get my ads, it shows how I'm funneling them from the different educational videos to eventually I'll include my link in the video, and those people then converting into my website, or through paid ads and different like Google and such, and keeping track, you're not going to get 50 new buyers. I'm not going to have, people rushing to sell their house right away, as my products tend to take 9 to 12 months to sell. But I do have active people looking to buy and sell from those leads. When you start running your ads, do not stop doing everything else you were doing. So you want to continue to share your true, authentic self, continue posting the things that you regularly posted. I do my just listed, just sold. I have different rotating marketing ads that go through, and then I sprinkle in, shares of other communities, resources, information, businesses, fun stuff to keep people engaged on my page so that they don't get bored seeing the same thing over and over and over. It is encouraged to have an enhanced description, extra pictures, videos, be more detailed, and that all better assists with your optimization. And so we'll go into more detail of that. I know that's a lot. Now what? What do you do next? Let's collaborate. So first, I would say join my local business marketing groups. There's the West Sonoma County Hub and Promoting Bay Area Small Business. Those are two different groups where I welcome you to share your business and your advertisements and your essence, so that you can get the community in the know about who you are and so forth. These groups are designed specifically for you to advertise and to get to know your community more. So if you want to film your first video with me, let's get started. I do have on-staff videographers, and we can get you through the first thousands of hours of views so that you have a better understanding of how this works hands-on. It is a lot to take in. And then, of course, tell any other business owners who you think can benefit. I'm happy to spread the word. It's important that we help these mom and pops be seen so that we can continue to compete with big advertisement dollars. So schedule time to design a solid plan. Even if it's just a one-on-one complimentary video, I want to show you exactly how this works, because once you get the video and you have the other parts fleshed out, you will start seeing these results, and I want you to be successful. Follow me on my socials. I have LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and then, of course, visit me on my Calendly to schedule time. That makes it easier for us to get our one-on-one, and just always feel free to reach out. My phone number is 707-477-7839. My goal is to help you succeed and own your dreams.